Welcome welcome all to the Novelty Podcast. My name is Terrell. What's up, Novel Ones? It's been a minute. Took a break last week, and honestly, it's not even a specific reason. I started a YouTube channel, and now I'm just constantly bogged down producing stuff, editing, all this stuff. It's like a whole nother game. But look, I don't want that to be an excuse. I got to do better. Can't be missing shows because that's entertainment. This is the information entertainment. This is when I'm bringing it to y'all so y'all can be entertained, so y'all can find some good movies and TVs. I got an obligation to my people. What the fuck is up, Novel? What's up? So last week, I talked a lot about Comic-Con. I used it as a source for a lot of my stories. So I'm going to be real with y'all, all right? I am not a comic book guy. Not a comic book guy. I'm a movie guy. For movies, half of the source material in Hollywood right now is coming from comic books. So the comic book thing kind of bleeds into my life no matter what. So some of the novel ones out there is comic book stans, not comic book fans. I'm talking stans, people who've read so many issues of comic books. They was raised off that. And when they consume the movies and TV shows, they're seeing it from a different lens. They're seeing it through already being familiar with the source material. They're seeing it as an interpretation, not as a story. It's an interpretation of stories they already know. So it's a different experience for them. And that is going to continue to happen a lot. That's only going to increase. Comic books is feeding a lot of our entertainment, and it's only going to get bigger. I know I got redundant. So with that being said, the truth is, people, with all of the stuff I talk about regarding comic books, over and over again, when it comes down to the Marvel properties especially, but even more of them that's being transitioned into TV, especially thanks to Seth Rogen, who's keeping an eye on a lot of the lower tier productions. I am kind of a Comic Con. I'm kind of a Comic Con. I am the Comic Con. I am the guy who's critiquing these stories, these stories that's older, these stories where I don't completely understand the folklore of them, and I'm critiquing them. Now, I'm not saying it's unfair because I'm not critiquing the comic. I'm critiquing the movies that's based on the comics, but a lot of times the movies, they end up deviating from the comics anyway. So I'm critiquing the narrative, but there's some things about the narrative I may not understand because I never read the comics. And this happens. This could happen on the reverse side where a fan of the comics can't get into a movie, can't buy a movie, or hates a movie because of the things that they deviated from the comics, while not realizing that if they went by those comics, it would not have transitioned on to the movies. And the comic books are TV shows before TV shows were big as they are. I guess they kind of came out, they kind of hit at the same time, TV shows and comics. But at the same time, comic books are a continuance of a narrative. You know, when you got 2 hours, in an Avengers case, 3 hours to tell a narrative, is certain rules and certain restrictions that happen where you got to kind of deviate from comics, and you got to moderate comics. You got to get them up to date. So I came up with this not front page. I came up with this segment, the Comic Con.
Dun, dun, dun.
Now, what I want to do is I want to react to some of the biggest stories from Comic Con as a movie guy, barely knowing about these things, using the same tactics that I use to do research on the movies and TV shows that I watch. I want to apply that to the Comic-Con news, because a lot of this stuff I'm completely neutral on. I got no stakes. I got no stakes. So let's get into it. Let's get into the Comic-Con. The first thing on the docket of the Comic-Con is The Witcher.
Dun, dun, dun.
Now, The Witcher is so this is, I jumped ahead. So this is the thing. This is what I want you to do. Now, I'm every week, all right? And eventually, some of you are going to regret it. But every week, I try to bait you guys into, interacting with me on social media, going to the page, following me at Novelty Movies on Facebook, where you get the most interaction, and a lot of the stuff that I was talking about that I'm producing, I'm getting on that Novelty Movies Facebook page. And tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I may not be understanding the potential of some of these releases that's coming out that was announced in Comic-Con. This is a good chance I'm not completely aware. because some of the stuff I'm lukewarm on, and it may be great. Some of the stuff that I'm really excited about may be terrible. It may not translate at all. So let's get into it. So the first one is The Witcher, as I prematurely stated earlier. So this is I was kind of excited about it, but when I first found out about it, I thought it was a game adaptation. Now it's technically a game adaptation, but the game was adapted from a book series, and the book series is huge in Poland. This is a Polish phenomenon that was that became international. But I was like, it looks cool, but it looks dumb. It looks kind of dumb. So based on what I'm picking up, this show is about a dude who just fucking hunts stuff, but they put in this whole destiny arc. So look, I am so tired of the prodigal son, not prodigal son. I'm so tired of the child of prophecy. I am tired of it, man. But we got one of those, and it's another big show that's doing the child of prophecy story arc again. But we got one of those. So this is the only thing that can save this show. The only thing that can save this show is Netflix. That's all that can save this damn show. Netflix could put so much. They could say, hey, spend whatever you got to spend on special effects and all of your stunt work, and this thing could just be a visual masterpiece. And that's what they're going to have to go for, because they're going to have their chance to make visual masterpieces, because some of these creatures in this damn show, some of the creatures in this show, and I say show because I'm kind of underselling it by saying in the damn show, because this thing is so much bigger than the show. I mean, it has board games, all kind of stuff, you name it. The Witcher is pretty big in its scale. But the thing in this show and the thing in this folklore, they are crazy, real monsters. So they got a chance to kind of make that what stands out. I got nothing against that. Look, sometimes story got to take a back seat. Sometimes you're like, oh, this is the same story. Like, and especially if this thing hit biggest, I think, with us, with the Americans, in the video game sector, video games don't give a shit about story. I mean, half the time people are boom, pressing A, pressing X, right past the story. They don't give a shit. So half the time these stories is not, that loaded. So they can stay true to that. But if they stay true to that and they make this thing about the stunt work, if they make this thing just a visual spectacular, it could work. But I'm on the fence. I think it's 50-50, and I think it's more than likely to fail. We'll see. I think that Henry Cavill, the one and only Superman, who I will always respect for telling DC, fuck you, I'm keeping my mustache so I can shoot Mission Impossible, which turned out to be a better movie. I'll always respect him for that. But we'll see if he was right this time. We'll see if this guy if he just knows his stuff, because honestly, the dude doesn't pick bad roles. I like him. I like him in most stuff I see him in. So let's see if he can pull this off. Let's see if he's a compelling character. Let's see if he can carry this iconic character, bring honor to the role. But from what I'm seeing, The Witcher is something that's average that could be great, or something that's average and could be terrible. But let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know if this thing is just too fucking big to fail. The other thing from the Comic-Con is Halloween Kills. Now, I wasn't impressed by the first Halloween, but at this point, Hollywood is just good this way. They know. Like, I don't care if the last one was good. This thing got fans, and those fans are gonna come out to see it, and they're gonna come out to see Halloween. We all know this. They're kind of up in the ante. They want to bring back the original Mike Myers. I don't know what that hits for. No, nobody cares of who the original Mike Myers is. They also wanted to bring back Paul Rudd, but he's busy shooting Ghostbusters 3, so they're not gonna bring him back. But did we need that? And they actually canoned the Halloween that he was in. They got rid of it. So who needs that? The only thing this thing needs is Jamie Lee Curtis. And then they gave us 2 more, essentially, Jamie Lee Curtises in the movie. So I mean, do we really need more? We don't need more. We'll see. But people are excited about Halloween. I don't know why anybody is excited about Halloween. I'm never excited about Halloween. I was not excited to go see Halloween. Well, the first 15 minutes had me going. It was pretty cool. And they had that crazy cool one-tracking shot, but they didn't make it pay off or nothing. As far as I'm concerned, Halloween Kills is gonna be shit. But we'll see. Sometimes these things surprise you. But they won't, will they? Halloween Kills is coming though. Rock Comic-Con.
Dun, dun, dun.
One of the other big things from Comic-Con is Blade. Now, I got on here and I was, elated that they picked up Muhammad, my bad, Ursula, Mahershala Ali. I almost called him Muhammad Ali.
What are you doing?
I was excited they picked up Mahershala Ali for this because he's just the perfect Blade. He's just the perfect Blade. He has Blade disposition in everything he's in. And it's funny, it's this movie called Alita Battle Angel where you can see it. You can just see he's Blade. But let's talk about Blade. So Blade, I don't know how they managed to pull off Blade. I think they managed to pull off Blade so well because they know the scale of Blade, right? Blade is never trying to save the world. He's not. He's trying to stop a rebellion, right? You never feel like these rebellions are on a world scale. You feel like, oh, if Blade don't stop them now, in about 10 years, this is gonna be a pandemic. But it doesn't feel that big. So it's hard to call bullshit. Out of the 3 Blades, 2 were great. I loved Blade, and I loved Blade 2 even more. And I'm not going to even lie. Blade 1 was better, but I enjoy Blade 2 more. They came out with Blade 3, and they were in a tough spot, right? Because how else can you top 2 great vampire movies? It's so hard to make 1 good vampire movie. They made 2, and they're like, okay, we got to top this thing with the vampire of vampires. And you got Blade fighting Dracula. What the fuck? Is that what we want? We want him fighting Dracula. So now you got to come up with some stupid, convoluted story of why Dracula is playing cat and mouse with Blade and his cohorts. It was fucking ridiculous. And then as strong as they made Dracula, they needed to make Blade stronger. We've seen Blade stay the same consistently strong. But now he's getting produced by Disney and Marvel. We're going to get to see just how insanely strong Blade could get, and I am here for it. Getting excited again. Getting all giddy and shit. Because I want to see Blade so bad. But we got about a year and a half. Before we can even start to salivate over that. That was one thing that rocked Comic-Con. And that was one thing that I felt to my core. I am excited about Blade. But let me know. Let me know if it's a way that they can botch this. But we all know they won't. They won't. They won't. It's going to be awesome.
Dun, dun, dun.
So Guillermo, these Mexican names, man. Guillermo. Damn, man. Jimmy Kimmel say this name all the time, man. Guillermo. So Guillermo del If you think that I'm editing it out, you're out of your fucking mind. Some outtakes this one. Guillermo del Toro. He's so coveted in Hollywood. They always want him for these big projects, but he decides to do passion projects out of nowhere, and James Cameron does the same thing. He'll decide to do passion projects out of nowhere, and he'll kind of he'll give you notes on and help you out, kind of play that producer role, kind of James Wan the whole thing. I'm gonna talk about James Wan in a second. I can't wait. But he'll kind of James Wan the whole thing, and that's kind of what he did to some projects in order to do this one. So Stories to Tell in the Dark drops on August 9th. This thing looks fucking terrible. If anybody knows about anything that this thing is inspired by, that you just knew was if that you just knew was gonna be killing shit, like if tell me, because look, this shit looks dumb. So this is the thing. If this was an anthology series, and that's what I was hoping, I was really hoping it was an anthology thing. But is it anthology or anthropology? I don't fucking know. It's one of those things where it's short stories that in short story and short story and short story. Netflix got a bunch of them. None of them are good, but they try. But yeah, like this one is like, I don't know how it's all gonna connect. I mean, I'm gonna go see it because Guillermo del Toro is one of the best directors working right now. But this doesn't look good, man. It's about somebody got a magical book and they put scary stuff in there and the scary stuff come to life, and it's like, what am I gonna get out of this shit? But I don't know. Is this thing inspired by a comic or not? See, I'm the Comic-Con. I don't fucking know. Maybe this shit come from somewhere. I watched the show a while ago, and I'm gonna put it it's gonna be a hidden segment on this podcast called The Boys. And I was just watching. And I was just like, man, this is crazy. I like this. And it turns out the shit is a comic book. It came from a comic book. And my boy is filling me in on all this shit from the comics. And I'm like, what? It's because I'm the Comic Con. The Stories to Tell of the Dark is dropping August 9th. If anybody interested in they're a fan of the comic book that may be out that I don't know about, hit up the Facebook page. Put me in line. Let me know.
Dun, dun, dun.
Short treks. Yeah, we got Star Wars. We got Star Trek. We got Star Trek short films. Based off the characters from Star Trek Discovery on CBS All Access. Am I boring you to death? I know I'm fucking bored too. But hey, Star Trek is one of the biggest shows in history. So here we are, being dragged with this thing. So Short Treks is this cool thing where the cast and crew from Star Trek Discovery gets to direct and write short films. And yeah, it was a thing at Comic Con, and it had this big reception with the viewers. People was digging it on online, and Star Trek ordered more of them. I mean, Star Trek, CBS ordered more of them, and shit. I don't care. Fucking bored. Who cares? We barely care about Star Trek Discovery, but you got your Trekkies out there. What up, Trekkies? I don't want no problems. But if you hit up my Facebook, I'll fucking take you on. Your show is on its last leg, okay?
Dun, dun, dun.
That brings me to Star Trek Picard, which I'm way more excited about than fucking Star Trek short films. What the hell is that? But, made waves. But Star Trek Picard is bringing back the infamous Sir Patrick Stewart back in his role as Picard. I don't even know his whole name because I'm the Comic Con, but he's coming back as in his role, and they did the thing though, man. They did the thing with the Child of Destiny thing. I've seen this story so many damn times. Like, this is what y'all got for me. Now I get it. Like, when you got somebody as decorated as the character who was Picard, and he's finally out of the story. In order to get him back in that story, you need something catastrophic. And I get it. They made something catastrophic. They did. This child is gonna be responsible for the destruction of the earth. I've seen this story a million times. You had so many opportunities. You're a space odyssey. You had so many avenues. You could have took this show and you bring the Child of Destiny shit to the front door again. I said again, I don't know Star Trek if it did it. I'm talking about whoever wrote this shit that I didn't feel like researching. But this thing made waves. A lot of the Star Trek fans is excited, and they're probably ready to stomp on my grave right now. But at the same time, I thought that we would get something better. But the stunt work looked amazing, man. The stunt work looked amazing, and I'm hoping that they do a lot of what the Star Trek movies do. Now, I ain't like the Star Trek movies. I do. That right now they're kind of in production limbo. A lot of the actors is like, "Fuck you, pay me." But right now they're in production limbo, and but I like them because what they do, they kind of ground it a little bit. It's just not all space fighting and stuff like that. And the show wasn't like that either. They give you some stuff on planets. But this, on the newer ones, the conflicts are kind of grounded in the planet, and a lot of idealism was grounded in a lot of the in people who live on the planet. So hopefully it's a lot of that in here. I've seen a lot of that in the trailer. There was a lot of stuff happening on the planet. Look, I'm gonna tune out to the space stuff after a while, because after a while I'm just watching shit float around. It's just my brain. People are all excited about Star Trek Picard. I'm pretty sure it's going to do crazy numbers. It's going to do great. Star Trek Discovery is doing great. The Trekkies came back for it, and they'll never leave it. They're probably the reason that it's still on TV, honestly. And yeah, so you got that coming. But let me know. Am I completely wrong? Do I not know what the hell I'm talking about? Is the Comic Con wrong again? Because I don't. I never watched the show. I'm not. It's probably true. I fucking never watched Star Trek. Watched the Star Trek movies though, so I'm kind of in on y'all universe. I'm kind of in. Don't sell me too short. I know a couple names. I know what the SS Enterprise is. I can, if I saw it, I know what it is. So cut me a little slack.
Dun, dun, dun.
And the last thing that made waves at Comic-Con is Watchmen. Now, I love Watchmen. So Watchmen is one of those movies where it's like so sometimes you get those movies where nobody really fuck with it. Like a lot they like, oh, I didn't really like that movie like that. Oh, that movie was too long. Oh, that movie was boring. Oh, that was stupid. Look, I loved Watchmen. I loved Watchmen because they they properly explored every kind of character arc that you could have in a show. I'm always looking for stuff like that. Um, when with Rorschach with his storyline with I want to call him the Joker, but he's not. I forgot his name, man. He died at the beginning. I don't know, but he's great. And uh Mr. Manhattan, Dr. Manhattan, and the other dude who's the mayor or some shit. I loved all of it. I loved the look of it, and I hope they managed to keep that look. They did not keep the same cinematographer, but HBO is producing it. They're not gonna drop the ball. HBO doesn't drop the ball. HBO is helping Euphoria succeed somehow. They don't drop the ball. I am excited about Watchmen. I don't have a lot to say about it, honestly, though. It's nothing, they didn't get any, big act. They didn't attach any big names to this. It's nothing special about the build up to Watchmen. It's just that the Watchmen fans and fans of the Watchmen graphic novels is actually getting their series continued because we should have got a sequel, but Hollywood wouldn't have knew how to market a sequel because Watchmen underwhelmed so much because it was not for the casual movie fan. You always want to make your stuff digestible to the casual movie fans. It wasn't all the way digestible for them. It's a little bit too much of a film noir, right? Noirs, they can barely make it in this day and age. They can barely make it. But True Detective is somehow making it, and that noir becomes worse and worse every season. But Watchmen is coming. Now, Watchmen, I'm excited about. Watchmen, I'm banking will succeed, and I'm excited. But maybe following more of these projects that come out of Comic-Con, I will become more of a fan, and I will start to become more familiar with the folklore from comic books. But the stuff that inspires comic books don't move me. I like the movies. They move me. Nah, I get what you're saying. I get what you might be thinking. Like, oh, well, if you like that, then the comics move you. Maybe. I'm just not a comic book dude. And that's why I'm the Comic-Con. So let's get into the front page. Spider-Man Far From Home has crossed the $1 billion mark. Because I told you Disney got the $1 billion formula. They know it. They know they got all kinds of stuff that, hey, if we just spend $300 million, we can make back $1 billion.
Straight to the bank, baby.
And they did it. You want to know how much they did it? They did it twice. Aladdin also crossed the $1 billion mark. Aladdin keeps making money. They keep going to see Aladdin because it was great. I'm about to start singing this shit. That's how much I liked it. But I'm really happy for Spider-Man. Spider-Man was really good. It was one of the best Iron Man sequels. No, I'm just playing. But it was good, and I'm really glad that it got its just due. I think this was the most successful Spider-Man. I hope I'm not misspeaking. Sometimes I'll just go off my knowledge base. I won't do no research, but I think it was the most successful Spider-Man. I'm pretty sure it was. I'm really happy, especially for Tom Holland, because I want him to be Spider-Man for years to come. And I hope that's how it works out. That's what Marvel is planning. I hope there's no contract issues. I hope they give him all the money he wants. And, yeah, so Robert Downey Jr., you've been replaced. George Miller wants a Mad Max 2, and damn it, he's going to get it. He's going to get it. And I'll go a step further. He's going to get a third. So this is what's happening, right? For all you Mad Max fans out there, look, I'm not going to lie. I was not impressed by Mad Max. This is one of those Stranger Things where, you can kind of get flash over substance sometimes. Look, this is a visual masterpiece, and this is what I was talking about. So for all of you people who've seen, Mad Max, and want to know what I was talking about with The Witcher. Like sometimes things just look so good, like you're watching it just for that, and you'll like it because of that, and you'll rewatch it because of that. That's the thing with Mad Max, man. Visually, it's incredible. If you ever wanted to see a post-apocalyptic world, this is the world you would want to see. Now, some of the stuff is kind of disturbing. There's some disturbing imagery, but the way that it's shot, the way that it's edited, all of that stuff is just phenomenal, and it has this following where everybody is clamoring for another Mad Max movie. Everybody loves Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy is always good. I don't know how good of an actor he is all the time, but when he's good, he's good. And he wants it. He says he's just waiting. He's just waiting for George Miller to be ready. And George Miller is honestly just kind of busy right now because Warner Brothers has expressed interest. But George Miller is like, yeah, Warner Brothers got bought by AT&T, and we don't know what's going on with that. But we all know that all sides involved want it, and it's gonna happen. And we're gonna get a Mad Max 2. And I think they want the third one to center around Charlize Theron's character, Farusha or whatever her name is. I don't know. Who's excited for that? I'm not. Mad Max is terribly fucking overrated. Chris Rock saw get moved up by 3 months. You know what that means, people? That means that Chris Rock went and pitched this show and blew their fucking minds. They were like, yes, Chris Rock, please make this show because please make this movie because that's just such a great idea, right? So Chris Rock was like, cool. And he went and he got to work and he started shooting this thing, and production was going so well. And then he was showing footage. He was showing dailies. They call them dailies. Dailies is, the footage that you kind of shot for that day, and you looking over it and blah, blah, blah. Talking film industry shit. But they're looking over the dailies and they're like, oh, this looks great. And they moved him up. Could Chris Rock's Saw be good? Can it be good? The second I heard that Chris Rock was directing a Saw movie, I lost my shit. And I get it. It's not fair. Everybody thought Get Out was great. I thought Get Out was good. Comics can cross over to the horror sector. They can cross over to the horror sector. It happens. But I guess this thing is looking good. I mean, it's everything that Chris Rock is promising so far is happening. So this could happen, people. We can end up getting a good Saw remake. Nobody's asking for a Saw remake. We're so fatigued from all of the Saws that we got. But the gore horror is a big genre. Chris Rock may deliver, Saw fans. He may deliver. So when I was researching that, when I was checking out that Chris Rock news, I ran across some incredible news. James Wan will be producing Mortal Kombat. Now, this is the shit to me, because this is the thing with James Wan, and I talk about this all the time. Anytime you see someone who is a renowned director, and suddenly you see some random ass project, and you see them as a producer, you could count them as the assistant director, who their notes or their little tidbits or their little advice will take precedent over the assistant director. And he's in on Mortal Kombat. Yes, Lord, bring it on. So I'm not clamoring for a Mortal Kombat remake, but you see, you gotta have hope when something takes this big break between like 10 years and 15 years. That means that when that thing got greenlit and the script start, getting worked on, that they already went over all of the mistakes. They know how poorly received the first, the second, especially Mortal Kombat Annihilation, the second one was received. And they know how lukewarm the first one was succeeded. But now they're gonna alleviate all of those mistakes. And you can believe that if James Wan is involved, the problems won't be in the story per se. That's a lie. I had problems with Annabelle Comes Home, and I had problems, and a lot of people have problems with Curse of Iona. And he was involved in both of those projects. Not directing either. He directed Aquaman. He didn't direct either. But he was in on it. I think that the story will be intact because let's be real, right? And I'm constantly hitting at this. Stuff based off video games is doomed. Video games aren't made for story. They're not made for story. They're made for for gameplay. They're used as a bridge. They're not really used to engage you. So they already have the odds stacked against them because Mortal Kombat is a fucking simple story. It's a simple story. It's like, oh, I want to destroy the realms. Here's a combat of champions. Who's gonna stop me? And that's it. Everything else doesn't matter. The mistake they make is when they try to make these Mortal Kombat movies, they try to stay true to that and they get a shit movie. No. You got to make this story about Liu Kang. You got to make this story about Kung Lao. You got to make the story about Sonya Blade. You got to make the story about Jax. You got to center it on one of those characters. Center it on one character and you'll get your story. You can do it in a million different ways. And you can get all the extra conflict and you can get all of these characters brought in as support and resistance. But you can't focus on more than one person or it's going to be a fucking mess. You're never going to get a chance to invest. But I can get a feeling that this thing is going to have a great budget. And if they get that budget and they want to have fatalities in this movie, this could work. This could work. And I'm really excited about James Wan being involved in the Mortal Kombat that's being remade. We might see it in about 2 years. I'll say about 2 years. Maybe a year. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens. When you start hearing casting news, it's coming. My favorite story of the day. My favorite story of the day is... No, I'm petty. Let me stop being petty. Jordan Peele declines to direct Blade. Yes! Yes, this is a win. This is a fucking win. This is a win. Now, in previous podcasts, I went on a bunch of tangents about Jordan Peele. And it's weird because Jordan Peele, he has technically two productions. Well, he has 3 productions, but the third one is so major that I can't even count it to his movie credits, to his movie credentials. But so he got 2 movies. He got Get Out. He got Us. So Get Out, Get Out was good. Get Out was good, man. Get Out was perfect technically, I want to say. Because if Get Out was about 30 minutes longer, it would have been a bad movie, right? But it ended perfectly because it ended with the theme being most important. And that theme was the making horror out of how white people see black Americans. White Americans see black Americans. And that was very cool, right? But if you take 1 second and think about that story, it'll start to slowly collapse. But it doesn't because it ended at the perfect time. But with Us, he ran into a bunch of issues. Now he tried to do the same thing, right? Tried to do the same thing of what it would take for Americans to stand together, which was basically kill the upper class.
You're out.
But it got muddled and bogged down in all of the folklore he kept trying to establish with the copies or whatever. Fell apart. He's also the brain trust. He's the mastermind. He's the I want to say executive producer, honestly, of the Twilight Zone. They gave him a lot of control. So I don't know. They say stick with So I'm gonna give y'all some insider shit right now, right? So you can kind of edit a podcast live sometimes. So I've been doing that. I did that this time. I usually don't. So I did my little edit, right? And I went back in, right? And I went for about 30 minutes of just talking some stuff about movies, right? I wasn't recording. I look, I lost so much momentum. Like I'm over here beat. I want to quit the podcast, but you know what I did? I said, you know what? I'm just gonna tell them what happened. Maybe I'll feel better because I am furious. But I swear to God, y'all, I was just going in. So hopefully I can duplicate that energy. Jesus Christ. But back to Jordan Peele. Thank you, Jordan Peele, because I think somewhere in Jordan Peele's heart of hearts, he knows that he's a hack. He knows it. Because look at his movies. His movies is always like rip-offs of certain stuff, right? He's just ripping off certain stuff and he's implanting them in there so he can give off his racial commentary, right? And the racial commentary always makes it impossible for you to rag on his movie. I'll do it anyway. I don't give a shit. to rag on his movie, and I don't give a shit. Not even a Bible verse can save him from Blade if he was to try it, and I think he knows it. So this is the quote he said. So many of those properties, it's a childhood dream to be able to essentially see what you saw in your imagination as a child, watching or reading or whatever you were doing with that stuff. It's a filmmaker's dream. But I feel like I only have so much time. I have a lot of stories to tell, and it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. I'm a comic book and graphic novel appreciator, but I can't call myself a true fanboy. Now I couldn't disagree with him more. I feel like that a true fanboy is probably a worse director. I think that the further differentiated you are from the material, the better. See, so just think about it, right? You're reading a comic book as a kid. You grew up with this comic book, right? And you love it or whatever. And then somebody say, "Oh, I want you to direct the movie for this," and you're gonna, "Oh yeah, absolutely." So, but you're gonna realize, right? Growing up and all your experiences, there's gonna be certain stuff about that comic book you kind of didn't like. You were a fan of it, but it was some stuff you didn't like. It didn't make sense to you. So you're going to change those things. You're going to make these little changes. They may seem minute and they may not seem like a big deal, and you're going to make these changes, but they're going to hurt the overall effect of the story, and you're going to betray the true comic book fans. So not being a fan of the comic books or graphic novels that inspired Blade could help him. But you know what it is? He knows. He knows good and damn well that he wouldn't know what to do with this script. And this is the thing. He'd be backed by Marvel and Disney. He'd have all the money in the world. They bring him in a Brinks truck. And he's still scared to direct this movie. You know why? It's because he knows he's a hack. Talking about he wouldn't have the time. Of course you'd have the time. They're shooting in a year. You'd have the time. A Disney Marvel project is something you leave projects for. Yeah, I got too much stuff going on. He's turning down a Marvel Blade movie for Candyman. Why? Why is he turning down that movie for Candyman? Because Candyman, he can hide behind his racial commentary and make some half-baked story and that he can take that's already made and he can fucking put in his commentary about racial divides and discrimination and all of this shit, man. And it's for sure gonna get in the way of his horror because the story isn't gonna make any damn sense. But I think that the dude passing up on Blade exposes him for who he really is as an artiste. Look, in my segment, Jordan Peele kind of got saved by Blind Luck. In my segment before, when I didn't press record, I was on fire. I was on Jordan Peele like white on rice, but I lost a lot of that momentum. I can't do it again. But I'm gonna carry on. So I came up with a segment, or I came up with an idea. I got on live, and nobody watches my lives, by the way. But I got on live, and I said, whoever get on here and leave a comment, I'll talk about it on my podcast. So I got one of those comments, and I checked it out. So Martell wants to know about a Warriors remake or a Last Dragon remake. Now, the Warriors remake has kind of been in limbo. They had the Russo brothers attached to it in 2016. That would have been really dope. The Russo brothers knows what to do with characters, as you can see from the Avengers movies. But yeah, they probably left it because of how much the Avengers movies was really planning to expand and getting into the, I don't know, what was it at that time? Maybe phase 2? And getting into that phase, and they declined not to do it. They were never replaced, and I don't know if they want anybody else to do it or if anybody wants to do it. So the Warriors is kind of in production limbo, but they want it to happen, but it's probably not going to happen at this point. Or it could happen. Maybe it'll happen in a year. I don't know, but there's no momentum on Warriors. But
Dun, dun, dun.
there is some legs to The Last Dragon. Now, interestingly enough, the person behind the scenes really trying to get this thing done is Samuel Jackson. He really believes this. He really believes in this thing, and not only that, he wants to take on the role of Sho'nuff. That's a great pick. I'm not against that. So he wants to do it. I don't know if he's pegged as a producer. He's probably gonna have to produce this thing to get it done. I know that he's very known, right? Notoriety can get some stuff greenlit sometimes. Maybe this can happen with him on this one. But this was this started around 2018, so last year. So he's behind the scenes, probably trying to drum up some money for this thing. He does have a writer attached to this thing. Um, so it's looking like this could actually happen. This is likely to happen because Samuel Jackson is involved. But he even got Sony. He got a distributor on board. So hey, The Last Dragon is looking a lot more real than fake, and you can look forward to that. And Leroy is going back to the big screen. Chronicles of Riddick 4 script is done. If anybody cares about that, I wasn't that big of a fan. I thought Pitch Black was cool, but the Riddick folklore has yet to impress me, and it's nothing but King Arthur. I mean, we've seen that shit before, so I don't know. They got another one coming. Vin Diesel kind of knows his lane at this point. He knows he can't act for shit, so he's just gonna keep reprising his iconic roles, and that's why I love like The Rock. Kind of giving him a fuck you, like, yeah, I'm gonna take your property and make $1 billion off of it. It's not gonna make $1 billion. It's gonna make like $800 million. That Hobbs and Shaw is gonna do well. And I think that's pretty funny because Vin Diesel, he really doesn't respect the art. He doesn't respect the art. He doesn't respect his own franchise. He doesn't. He plays with people's time and shit. So I think it's cool. So we'll see what happens with Chronicles of Riddick 4. Vin Diesel was a good draw, so it might succeed anyway. I don't know, but I don't think the interest meter is too high on this one at all. So strap in on this one. I want to give you a warning because I'm going to be talking about highly sensitive material here. If this makes you turn on me and stop listening to the podcast, all I ask is that you tell someone about the podcast. Be like, oh, I don't listen to the novelty podcast that on podbean.com anymore. And you can go there and you can download this stuff for free. But I don't listen to it anymore because he crossed the line. And I don't look. Just promote me before you quit me, okay? Because I need it. I need it. Because I'm going to talk about slavery for a second. 12 Years a Slave dropped in 2013. That was cool. I actually was relieved to see a movie that was from a different perspective, right? This wasn't about a slave. It was about a businessman who was thrown into slavery unjustly because he was black. I'm like, holy shit, this is different. But I still resented it. It was a great movie. Free State of Jones came out in 2016, starring Matthew McConaughey, and I always like stuff that Matthew McConaughey is in. This wasn't even a bad narrative. Not a bad movie. But yeah, that happened. But I still resented it. Birth of a Nation came out in 2016, and that was really necessary, right? Because the original Birth of a Nation, which I think came out in 1916, maybe 1920. And it was a very pro Ku Klux Klan propaganda piece. I think that another perspective was severely needed in that story and that narrative that inspired a lot of people to be Klan members. I think that this was very necessary for the time, and it was done with integrity. But I still resented it. 13th drop, I still resented it. Lincoln dropped. Now, Lincoln was a very necessary movie. Like some of these things are kind of necessary to see from an analytical perspective to me, because a lot of times when we think of slavery and ending slavery, we think, oh, black people willed their way out of slavery, and that wasn't the truth. It was white people fighting white people, right? And they were fighting them on the front lines of war, and they was fighting them in Congress. Ending slavery wasn't about liberating black people for everybody. It was about taxation. It was about agriculture. It was about the working class. America couldn't afford slavery after a while and needed more people in the workforce. So it needed to end. I think that those type of things are important, especially because when they say history repeat itself, those are the kind of ways that it repeats itself. How these politicians, even today, are behind the scenes trying to work out ways to manipulate, different demographics of the country. Happens all the time, and I think this is a real issue. Prince of Egypt. No, I'm just playing. I wanted to mention the Django Unchained for a second, which is technically a slave movie, but it's not, because Quentin Tarantino perverts history so much. It's fringe history. It's revisionist history. So I I wanted to mention it though, just because I liked it, but I won't. So there's another slave movie coming out, and I want no parts of it. Now, this is my thing. So, what is the point? What is the point? Who is this supposed to inspire? Is this supposed to inspire black people? Is this supposed why should I feel obligated to go see this period, right? When Quentin Tarantino was getting criticized about how many times he used the N-word in the Django Unchained, he said it was a period piece. I was staying true to the time. And he kind of gave away a secret, right? Why does Hollywood constantly need to make this period piece? A part of me feels like they want to be vicariously a part of that period piece. Why do we constantly need to see this? Hollywood, I challenge you to do this. I challenge you to come out with a movie that inspired black people by showing a moderate story. I want to see a black person affecting today's economy. I want to see a black entrepreneur who is making waves on the using internet marketing, who is changing the perspective of black people that way. I want to see people affecting the economy now. I want to see the story of Black Wall Street. I want to see black people being progressive. What is it shown when you want to see black people be progressive? We need to go back to an era where we didn't have anything, where the only thing we had to gain was freedom. Now we have so much more to gain in different ways. Now we need more than freedom. Now we need that next step. I want to see somebody fighting against gentrification. I want to see somebody fighting the law enforcement's real reason for the reason they're shooting black men at the rate that they are. I want somebody to talk about how hard it is for a black man to go too far away from the city before he's being harassed. Let's get to that. And I'm not talking about in the way that they did it with that one movie, The Hate You Give. That movie was a lot more. It was a lot different than some of the true horrors and injustices that can happen when a white cop sees a black man too far from the city, out where he isn't supposed to be. You know what that is? That's segregation. Let's focus on today's problems. Why are you still trying to inspire me with slaves? We're not slaves anymore. I don't need it. Harriet Tubman is an American hero. She should be on every mantle, every home in America. I almost called her first because she probably wasn't the first. She probably wasn't the only person helping people escape. But it did take a lot of courage. But who is this really supposed to inspire? This I don't want this inspiring my kids. I don't want it inspiring my kids. I want my kids inspired by black businessmen of today who are showing them how to be better today. Because nobody is teaching black kids how to invest money. Nobody's teaching black kids what stocks and bonds is. Nobody's teaching black kids what an ADR is. Nobody's teaching them that. Instead, we still want to teach our kids, she ran away for her freedom. Look how brave she is. That's not the challenges we're facing, and that should not be what's inspiring us. Over the slave movies. Over them. And by the way, hire some American actors. What's with hiring American actors? The British actors. What's with hiring British actors for American roles? Especially roles as important as this. Now, I get it. I get that they wanted Viola Davis. I get that they wanted her. But she wasn't the right pick. Honestly, to be for real. The pick they got, Cynthia Erivo. Cynthia Erivo. She's a good pick. She's pretty good. But she's British, and does she really understand? Is she not just reenacting a day at a museum? I want somebody who really understands. And this is the point Samuel Jackson made about the dude from Get Out. Those British people can come over here and they can pretend to relate to these American issues, but they don't really understand the horrors. Is all American actors in theater? Is all of them there? Why do you have to be a WWE wrestler in order to play an American in movies? What is it? And I love Tom Holland. But damn, come on, where's the American actors? What do we got, like 3? At least bring some genuine method acting to the screen. if you're gonna constantly subjugate me to these slave movies because you think that that's what motivate me or my people. God, step it up, Hollywood. I challenge you. I challenge you to make a moderate movie about black progressive issues. Please. God, I'm sick of it. So in one of my reviews, right? In one of my reviews, I was doing research and I ran across a top 10 list, of Quentin Tarantino movies. It blew my mind. You wouldn't believe how some of these people are digesting Quentin Tarantino movies. Yo, I'm a big Tarantino fan. So this came from a site called Collider. Collider is a very big site. So when you're that big, you know, you're subjugated to certain corporate pressure. You know what corporate pressure is now in the world of Hollywood? The Me Too movement. I think there is a gang of women behind the scenes terrorizing everybody with sexual harassment lawsuits, and it's changing Hollywood. Because number one on the all-time Quentin Tarantino movies is Jackie Brown. Jackie Brown? Jackie Brown? Number two is Inglourious Bastards. Jackie Brown is better than Inglourious Bastards. And Inglourious Bastards is number two. That's way too high. I'd have that at number 6 somewhere. Pulp Fiction is number 3. I'd easily have that at number 2. Look, Pulp Fiction was packed with all kinds of narrative mastery. Just great storytelling. You can watch Pulp Fiction once a week, and it will be just as good every time, and you will be learning new shit every time. And you'll have some theories too. It's nothing better than a movie theater. There's nothing better than a movie theater. I said it again. It's nothing better than a movie theory. Jesus. I say movie theater so much. Reservoir Dogs is number 4, which is kind of high to me. I would have had that down at number 7 or something like that. Reservoir Dogs is a great movie that was basically carried by an incredible cast, but it is literally a movie about someone getting shot. I swear to God. That's really all it's about. It could have been a stage play. And you know those stage plays, they probably got a name for it where it's only one setting. Like they only got one setting the whole time. That can be Reservoir Dogs. But I loved Reservoir Dogs. I got the DVD. Yeah, it's one of them DVDs. You know how we used to have DVDs? Django Unchained is number 5. I feel like that's a little low. I think that could be easily number 4. Love Django Unchained. Honestly, Leonardo DiCaprio being a racist bigot slave master was one of my favorite performances from him. Yay! It's kind of bizarre. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, name it number 6. Are they out of their mind? I'll be talking about that in depth, giving that spoiler review and taking it to the spoiler room. Please don't watch it. Don't listen if you haven't seen it. It will ruin the movie for you. Only listen to it if you never plan on seeing it, and you can just hang with me for a second while I talk about this very average movie. Kill Bill made it. Kill Bill Volume 2 was number 7. First off, Kill Bill Volume 2 is not better than Volume 1. I know Volume 2 had a little bit more story, but Volume 1 was just a perfect narrative. Volume 1 is what made you want to see Volume 2 so bad. And they gave you that anticlimactic shit in Volume 2. Just, come on, man. Death Proof is number 9. This could have been off the list. And The Hateful Eight is number 10. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood could be off the list, honestly. It's no reason it's on here. But it made it somehow. But check out this list. It's on Collider.com for all the Tarantino fans out there. I just wanted to touch on this for a second. I think this list is insane. I think that the best Quentin Tarantino movie is probably shit. Maybe it is Jackie Brown. Let's get into the novel 5.
The novel 5.
Yeah. I know what you was thinking. You was like, what? The novel 5? He's doing the TV thing. Yes, I'm doing the novel 5 because I'm late. I'm introducing a new segment. I'm doing a special edition of The Graveyard. So let's get into the novel 5. Look, TV is very lucid. It's very fast, man. It's very fast. Like, every week, we're getting closer to a season finale and we're getting closer to another season premiere. So it's constantly evolving. So I'm getting into the novel 5 right freaking now. Lego.
The novel 5.
Number 5 is Elementary. It's in its final season. I try to stay away from putting final season on my novel 5 because honestly, you can make a novel 5 of final seasons. Usually, things that make it to a final season is a decent to a good show. Sometimes they're legendary shows. Elementary is crossing that legendary plateau. Um, this recent season is killing it. I'll never know if the critics are giving these things 100% as novelties, but they are giving it to this to the show. The show is solid though, but all it's doing is keeping the same even keel. Eventually, I guess I don't know if they're gonna end it. Well, that's the big thing. How are they gonna end it with Sherlock and Holmes finally getting together and like going 100%, or are they gonna go another way? Are they gonna kill someone? How are they gonna do it? How are they gonna end it? But anyway, it's number 5. It's number 5. Look, I don't have that much to say about Elementary. Is it Elementary fans out there? Maybe, I don't know, but it's number 5 on the novel 5. Elementary is a good show though. It is. It's good.
The novel 5.
Number 4 is Mindhunters. Now, Mindhunters is not out right now, but it's really one of the most anticipated shows out there. The first season had a 92. I think it's like a 90. It might have been a 90. Okay. It was a 97. So it got a 97% and a 95 audience score. People, when you see stuff this high, it's for real. So I couldn't get into Mindhunters though, because it was a little too slow. And sometimes, it's a different experience. Sometimes you watch shows with people, you start those shows with people, and that's y'all show. And then you got shows that are kind of your own. I think that's something I probably should have made my own because it's very slow. A lot of storytelling, but that's where this show is the best, right? In its storytelling, in this detective really getting into the minds of these serial killers. Once Upon a Time had Charles Manson in there. I thought it was a horrible rendition of Charles Manson. So much so that I wasn't even 100% sure that it was Charles Manson. And even now, I heard them saying Charlie over and over again. It just wouldn't hit me because he was acting in such a. It was a horrible Charles Manson rendition. Okay. They gave us a sneak peek of the one that's in this one. It's much closer to the Charles Manson that we would be expecting to see. I don't know what the fuck that was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I really don't. I'm really excited about the potential of this one. This show has a very dark tone. You can kind of call it a horror show. I think it's probably listed as a crime thriller, but honestly, there's some scary shit in here. But y'all know how I am about serial killers. Shit, man.
The novel 5.
Number 3 is Krypton. Krypton is not going away, people. Now, I don't have any faith in sci-fi shows. I just don't. But sometimes you can get lucky. So, how in the world can you make Superman interesting as a show? You either ground him in humanity or you ground him in more Supermans. And this thing is actually working out. So the super sequel to Superman is really lighting it up. What the critics are really loving it, and the ratings are just creeping up more and more every week. This is not that bad of a show. It hasn't impressed me, honestly, but this is one of those things. I tell y'all about the novel 5 all the time. I can flat out not like a show, but if that thing is carrying any kind of weight and has any kind of artistic integrity, it will make it to the novel 5. And Krypton is number 3, as it is quality television. And it's not going away. It's getting renewed. And if you into that type of thing, I would check out Krypton.
The novel 5.
Number 2 is The Boys. I love The Boys. I really wanted it to put at number 1, but it's this thing about studying story. It always gets in my way, right? I'm basically a fanboy for The Boys. Like the way that I am a fan of this world. I completely buy in to this world and everything that it brings me. This is a great show. This will be discussed ad nauseum at the end. This will also be another hidden segment. I will talk about this, take it to the spoiler room. If you've seen The Boys, kick back with me after the podcast and we can talk more about it. This is a really good show. It's buzzing everywhere. It's all everybody is talking about because This is basically if you want to take something like Justice League and how massive that is. So just take the polar opposite of that. Just take the polar opposite of what you see Justice League as, and that's what this is. That's what The Boys is. The Boys is produced by Amazon Prime. It's dark as you can get. It's fucked up as you can get, and this is the thing. This is the clean version. The comics are darker. So just know that if you know the comic book shit is just too cheesy to you, if it just bores you to death, this is a great path to go. Look, all of the shit, cinematography, special effects, all that stuff is tight. It's in order. It's airtight. You're good. You're good. Invest in The Boys. It is a hell of a thrill ride, and it's number 2 on the Novel 5.
The novel 5.
Number 1 is Pennyworth. Now, I'm so happy to put on for Pennyworth. You know why? Because I'm a crazy Batman fan. What? Batman? What the hell are you talking about, Batman? Yes, Pennyworth is the last name of Alfred. Alfred, the butler of Batman. And this show is the shit. Now, the thing that I like about this show, so this is the thing, right? Batman is a very, very dark story. It's a dark story. Like, it's something that it's often way too clean. It's way too clean. And this is where anybody who messed up a Batman, like Joel Schumacher, who really took into consideration more so the marketing side of Batman and how clean Batman should be and how many kids like Batman, and really not grounding this thing in the dark story that it is. So when I heard about this Pennyworth show and I learned that it was about Alfred Pennyworth, the butler of Batman and the Wayne family, I was like, oh, man, I don't know about that one, man. Come on. And then I watched it. This is a X-rated version of the Gotham universe, and I couldn't love it. I couldn't love it more. So everything is hitting on all cylinders on this show. Namely, the lead that they picked to play Alfred. Now, it's really interesting, right? Because all of the Batman portrayals, you got a bunch of Alfred portrayals, including Alfred portrayals that's in the Batman cartoons. You got all of these different Alfreds. So they had a big decision to make. They said, which Alfred are we going to kind of base this on when it comes down to the character and all of his mannerisms? And they picked the Michael Caine Alfred, one of my favorite Alfreds. Now, he's not my favorite Alfred. My favorite Alfred is from Gotham. I just liked him as a guy, as a Alfred. But the thing is that he's just too badass to ever come across as a butler. Like, every time he act like a butler, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. You're a badass. But this dude, he actually comes across as a badass butler. So they took but he's not a butler. But they took Michael Caine's Alfred, and that's who they tailored this Alfred to. And man, it works. Like, just the way he talks, man, the way he carries himself, and when it's time for him to handle business, and him still having that righteousness about himself, you can kind of see how in the hell someone could ever contribute to Batman in any way. Like, how could anybody stand by for that? Like, you can kind of understand it. They want you to understand why he believed in Batman. And I think that's fascinating. You can just see how they're creating the villains. And another thing, it's no cartoonish villains on here. You know, or at least maybe not yet. But it's no cartoonist villains in here. They grounded this thing in the Nolan style universe, and I just couldn't love it more. Kudos to Epix. Epix is never gonna get big. I can't believe they're even still trying to produce content, but sometimes all it takes is a hot show. Pennyworth is a great experience. If you love character, and if you love gore and violence, because this show is violent, but if you like those things, I highly, highly, highly recommend Pennyworth. I think it's one of the hottest shows out. I'm hoping to catch on. Usually things in the Batman universe do catch on. I really hoping this one catch on. It's a great watch, and Pennyworth is number 1 on the Novel 5.
The novel 5.
Let's go to the graveyard. Over here at this tombstone, the segment we know as Power Rankings is no more. Here it lies after being with us from the very beginning. Eventually I realized that the Power Rankings is kind of a farce, because technically whatever's newer is going to be number 1, and whatever older is going to be number 5. And when it comes to relevance, the Power Rankings is going to be a little predictable. So here lies the power rankings from 2019 to 2019. Now, with that being said, we out of the graveyard. And we're on to the time. That's right. The time is the tournament of movies. That's a temporary title. I just put it there because I thought it was hilarious. But that's not. But anyway, this new segment is tournament style. It's playoff style of the movies because I'd much rather have these things bump each other off. I think that way you'll kind of get more of a sense of what's the hottest movies out. What's the best movie according to the Novelty Podcast? I'm really digging it. I'm really excited about it. It will be playoff style. I hate playoff style, but I think it's the only way. Sometimes it's kind of like the electoral college where, it's the only thing that works. So let's do it. So I'm going to start off introducing the seeds, and then I'm going to have those seeds battle it out, and then that's going to show me who is the time champion. Now, I already know who's going to win this one, but I think that this is going to constantly give us some surprises. So anyway, the number one seed in the time is Hobbs and Shaw, The Rock, Jason Statham, and Idris Elba in this super production of a movie that got released on August 2nd. Look, it's going to make all the money in the world. It's having an average reception with the critics, as it should. It's a Fast and Furious movie after all. But this movie is not about story. This is all about flash of substance. And we'll see how good it does. But it is the number one seed on time. The 2 seed is The Lion King. Lion King is a horrible movie. The Lion King is a big disappointment, but it's making its money. It's going to cross the $1 billion mark. It is. People are going to go see it more than once, maybe. I don't know. I'm starting to get a feeling that Aladdin is going to outperform Lion King, which would be, Ali Fraser-esque upset. It will be insane. But it's holding the number 2 seed. The 3 seed is Spider-Man. Now, I wanted to put Aladdin on here, but I think that Aladdin is probably going to be out of theaters soon. I just couldn't find myself doing it. The 3 seed is Spider-Man. The $1 billion mark has been crossed on Spider-Man. It's a great movie. One of the best of the year. I wish that it would make some Oscar noise, but we all know it won't. But definitely earned the 3 seed. The 4 seed is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The 9th movie, or the 8th movie, I think it's the 9th movie. The 9th movie from Quentin Tarantino. This is a very interesting movie. Bit of a noir, bit of a different telling of Hollywood, Manson family murders. Yeah, I wasn't that impressed. But it's definitely a 4 seed. It's definitely making its fair share of noise. The 5 seed. The 5 seed is Toy Story 4. It's still bringing in its money or whatever. So, it's there. It's probably gonna lose, right? And then number 6 is Crawl. Crawl was a pleasant surprise. It didn't make any money, as it shouldn't. I think that the marketing was there. The marketing was definitely there, but they didn't have any star power with this thing, and that'll kill you. That's honestly probably what killed this, because this is, out of all of the movies I just named, this is probably the second best movie, the third best movie. I'm pretty sure Crawl is going to be better than Hobbs and Shaw. Hobbs and Shaw is just, a guy movie. And, I love my guy movies. What can I say? Time to square off. Bracket number 1, we got Hobbs and Shaw versus Crawl. Now, Crawl is probably going to lose this one. Crawl's going to lose just because it's just not big enough. So this is hopefully when this thing get on DVD in Redbox, it kind of get that cult classic. They play it on the Shudder Network, and it really starts to pick up, really start to lift off, because it's a quality movie. But it's just not big. It's Hobbs and Shaw, and for that reason, it's axed out of the time. Can't wait to change that title. But it is. It's the tournament of movies. What can I say? Round 2 is the Lion King versus Toy Story. Oh, what a matchup. What a matchup. It's not that big of a matchup. The Lion King constantly stumbles on itself. So this is what I would have did if I was the Lion King. I would have took the old track from the original Lion King, and I would have dubbed over, I would have put the visuals from this on that, and it would have been amazing. But they didn't. They gave us the National Geographic's version of The Lion King with actual animals, and the whole time I was thinking about possibly getting eaten, and I couldn't give that thing the emotional investment that I wanted to, and I think that that was a lot of people's problem. They took a lot of liberties, including with Scar's story, and it really hurt this thing. And because of that, it lost to a very sound and amazing narrative of Toy Story 4, one of the best send offs I've seen in cinema in a while, and I appreciated it. It was like a really great season finale, and it probably not the finale. They're probably still not done with Toy Story. They'll find a way to make a 5 because that thing is gonna make bank again. So Toy Story will knock off The Lion King. Then you got Spider-Man: Far From Home versus Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This is actually another interesting matchup because Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is so. I walked out of the theater hating it. It's one of those things. You should follow me at the Novelty Movies podcast because it's what I do. I kind of react as soon as I leave the theater, and when I do that, I'm reacting off emotion. There's no analytical anything going on there. So it's always fun, right? I left this theater like, fuck this movie. If you defend this movie, you don't know movies. I don't want to hear your opinions on movies. I wasn't that mad. It was funny. But at the same time, I found myself taking this couple steps back. The movie was staying on my mind for a while. It stuck with me. So this movie may get better with time, but it's a good chance that it doesn't. It's a really good chance that it doesn't because this is an average movie. So I feel like over time it can go from bad to average, but it can't go from average to good. I don't see how people are out here saying this movie is good. I think that sometimes people mistake busy with good. Like there's a lot going on in this movie with flashing lights and legs and shit. But not a lot of story there. Barely any story. But the one story that was there, I really dug, and that was Brad Pitt's story. So if you really are a fan of Brad Pitt, if you want to see Brad Pitt just be cool ass Brad Pitt, Once Upon a Time in America could be enjoyable. But shit, it's not better than Spider-Man. What the fuck am I talking about? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is going down to Spider-Man. So Hobbs and Shaw, as the number 1 seed, gets the next round as a bye. Yeah. So it's going to be Toy Story 4 versus Spider-Man: Far From Home. Now, this is a tough one, right? You got two solid stories, right? So if you were to really ask me, like, which one was better? Which one am I going to spend my last dollar on to see before the last movie I'll ever get to see? So, Toy Story 4, it really pulls at the heartstrings. It really pulls at the heartstrings. You really like the message that they're giving, but it can be a little boring. Spider-Man is not boring. Keeps up fast pace, fast action, and the story is solid. Now, I really liked Iron Man 3. Spider-Man: Far From Home reminded me a lot of Iron Man 3, but I think that it was done better than Iron Man 3, done with a little more care than Iron Man 3. I really liked a lot of what they did. I just wish that Iron Man didn't affect the story so much. I really do. But it didn't hurt the story at all. And I just had too much more fun with Spider-Man. Spider-Man also made more money, so it's a heavier contender. I definitely think that this one is really close, but it's gonna have to go to Spider-Man: Far From Home, which is gonna match up by Hobbs and Shaw. So I'm not gonna lie, this is way too soon. This is a little premature, right? Hobbs and Shaw, I am pretty much certain is not going to be that impressive. I'm pretty much certain I'm just going here to see some cool ass stunt work. That's all I'm coming to see. And then on top of that, half the stunt work I have to suspend disbelief to even get with. But I'm all for it. It's cool. But with that being said, I know this story is gonna be shit. I know it, and I know it will not be as good of a story as Spider-Man. And I know that it won't even make a freaking $1 billion like Spider-Man because it just doesn't have the fan base nor the rewatchability of Spider-Man. And with that being said, Spider-Man: Far From Home is the winner of the tournament of movies. Yeah, I like that a lot better. I think it'll age well because it's about to be insane. Like, it's about to be insane. Like, over the next 10 days, a bunch of insane releases is coming out. I mean, and I said 10 days, but the whole month of August is looking really, really strong. And it should perform a lot better than July. But July was a big step up from June, and June was a step up from May. I mean, the movies has been crazy. Like, nothing has been able to really deliver. But some stuff has. Some stuff has. Check out some trailers, man. Check out Good Boys. Check out Ready or Not. I'm excited about that one. Check out the Cats trailer if you're into that type of thing. Check out The Irishman. Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci are all returning to the small screen. Check out the Harriet trailer to see what all the fuss was about. Check out 1917. Check out Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. That's dropping August 9th for all you horror fans out there. Can't wait to review that thing. And check out Door for all of y'all who want to get y'all kids to see something cool. I know the kids are clamoring for the Door to explore rendition. All right, y'all. That's gonna be it for me. I hope that I was able to inform y'all on some movies. I hope that this was informative. I went a lot into the commentary part of it because, hey, I get some good feedback on that. I love talking to y'all about some of the behind the scenes stuff and some of the best stuff about movies. But at this point, I'm just rambling just because I like hanging with y'all. Stick around for the segment. I am fully aware that I had a speech impediment in this episode. I'm still trying to figure out my schedule. Like, when is the best time to record this damn thing? It's crazy. The secret segment, the spoiler room, where I talk spoiler-filled reviews on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and The Boys. But please, only if you've seen it. I got it for the theater goers and the streamers. We're going to be rolling, but until next time.
This is the Novelty Podcast.